So this morning, a friend of mine um, sent a newsletter, and she does with art what I do with music. And it was just so fitting. Her name is Dana Anderson. She said, when the world is fragmenting, it is more important than ever to touch the realms of wholeness. Confronting despair, we are called to turn within, to bring forth the shining visions that restore the heart and weave the tapestry of unity. Isn't that something that just came in this morning at 5 o'clock? See what I do at night. Oh gosh. So, except for a few masters on earth that have really mastered this game of life, um, we usually do not know how powerful we are. So, we were created by the source of everything that is in manifestation. That source can also be unmanifest when the scientists call it the quantum field, or when, we call it by so many names, but the void, black hole, whatever. But it's where all things come from. Out of its out breath, then comes the visible world, which is us and the chair we sit on. And, even I have an amazing relationship, even with rocks. Like, I live near the South Yuba, and I go walking there often. And the Yuba is full of, there are rocks of every kind, and they are arts, works of art. And they are, some of them are round and smooth and carved by the forces of nature, which made such incredible beauty. But it was actually violent forces that whittled these rocks to these pieces of art, just like life often in very seemingly violent ways whittles us into greater pieces of art. So, since I couldn't change it and I spent a lot of my life trying to go against that principle, I changed my policy. So now I just open my heart to the whittling and say, take me, whittle away. And since I've been doing that, gosh, I can't tell you. I mean, even this one who used to kind of like not like itself very much, can anyone relate? It's starting to actually fall in love with itself, but not in an egoic way, but in a way of recognizing the true power of the whole universe of that source that lives within every cell of us. We got to breathe on that one. I mean, it's mind-boggling. Our little mind cannot understand that, but our hearts can understand it. We get it so many different times, moments during the day when we are touched by something in life that unlocks and unleashes the power of our heart and our spirit. So, what's going on Earth? So, Jeddah Mali, she is a spiritual teacher from England. She's wonderful. She says, humanity is passing through a critical lesson, one which requires us to be more stable, clear, and empowered than ever. The world needs our individual contribution of love, light, and conscious understanding. Conscious understanding. To pass through this test into its next phase of development. So that jumped out for me, um, because many of us have sensed that we have incredible potential and greatness in our being for a long, long time. But we didn't have the conscious understanding. We're just now starting to understand. For me, I have always known that, well, this is I call it trauma planet. Almost every being I know has been traumatized in one way or another. And children are not, as children, we are programmed. We have a lot of very negative programming we get to start life out on planet Earth, which we then need to spend a lot of energy to overcome, you know. But it's not our fault. Nothing that you feel bad about yourself, ever have felt bad about yourself, is your fault. Nothing. it's a matter of bad programming. And I recently came across another beautiful modality, which is a synthesis of many things I've learned before. It's called cognitive movement, and it helps through movement of the eyes and very brilliant modalities to to release the nervous system from all these accumulated loops, trauma loops, and negative um, programs. But at the root, where they are in the nervous system. So our mind is really about our brain, and mind is about efficiency. So if something, and we have a negativity bias for survival's purposes. So if something negative happens to us at any age, even now, the mind and brain immediately gives it special attention. And it puts a super glue on that neural receptor, AMPA receptor, and glues it literally to the neurons. And then anything that is associated, like a color, a smell, a taste, a sound, will get lumped in with that alarm bell. Danger, danger. And so our mind is constantly trying to protect us very lovingly, but most of these mechanisms are hindering our coming into our full true nature, our full potential. So I recognized lately that it's very important and very timely to undo these loops, these trauma loops, these loops of fears. You know, we have so many fears that our mind desperately holds on to protect us. So I have found some ways that we can release these things. And when they release, it's like when you let go or you take a virus out of a computer, it runs so much better and faster and more efficiently and not so hot, and it doesn't get bogged down, and its bandwidth is greater. We also have a computer. Our mental computer works just like a computer, technological. And so as we free these energies, they take so much life force. These loops, these fears, these traumas, the guilt, the shame, you know, I could go on and on. You know what I mean. You've explored it, your life in this lifetime, like I have. But we need to really find a way to release it at the root. Not just like I spoke earlier about just putting spiritual wisdom and practices on top of that while that is still running in the nervous system just doesn't work. So I am now able, I found a way to release it out of the nervous system. And when that releases, automatically the spiritual teachings come alive in us. We become that love, we become that joy and that lightness. And so I encourage all of us to pray deeply for the grace to be able to release any loops of guilt, shame, fear, regrets. Regrets of the past and fears of the future is what we are caught in. And in order to make a difference, everyone makes a difference. Like this service right now makes a difference. It's a small group, but we are powerful beyond our own wildest imagination. Anytime even one of us shifts, changes something in our habitual crazy minds and puts our hearts, you know, towards the solution, it helps the whole, it makes a difference. And anytime we're gathered as a group, it makes even much more of a difference. So frequency and vibration goes out and energy goes out from this room that affects everyone connected to us, everyone in the whole world, in the whole universe, and especially our invisible ones too, our guides and helpers and our God squad. You know, it affects them too because they had to work very hard to get us to this point. You know, oh gosh, I always said I must have had hundreds of angels watching over me to keep me alive. You know, and now I know why. Thank you. You know, it was worth it. I say now. You know, me jumping off of mountains in Alaska with a hang glider and almost breaking my neck and on and on and on. But here I am. And I'm more clear and have more joy and more quality in my life than I ever did before because I know now how to focus this incredible instrument that has been given us, the mind and the heart. And so I've been reading my favorite novels. They are by David Mishi, and he's an Australian author. He wrote the series The Dalai Lama's Cat. And so the books are written from the perspective of a cat that lives with the Dalai Lama. And the books are, I love those kinds of books where it's a story and a teaching, many spiritual teachings, an interesting story, and a lot of humor. And so I got the latest one, which is called The Claw of Attraction. He is so cute. And one other one is in the series. It's a series. It's called The Power of Meow and The Art of Purring. I mean, they're really precious. But and he uses his abundance for doing. He loves animals. Obviously, he can think like a cat. I swear that book is written by a cat through his mind. But I laugh out loud when I read this, and in the book are so many jewels that I just like the reminders because we forget, we let the mind run on automatic. We cannot afford that anymore. Okay, please, are you with me? We cannot afford that anymore. You do not let it run on automatic. So when a musician or an athlete or an artist, anybody who wants to do anything, what do we need? Practice, right? So we need to practice. So, for example, when we prepare food, so we can, and I traveled with a lot of the saints from East and West, and the mothers from India, especially, they would go to the kitchen with us and show us how to prepare food, but it was really the internal attitude. And the mothers always said, the energy of the cook goes into the food and all your thoughts. That's why even Gandhi in the prison had murderous thoughts when they served him a lunch, because a murderer had prepared the lunch with murderous thoughts. But every thought counts. So imagine we have, gosh, tens of thousands of thoughts in a day, right? Even at night, we dream. But imagine every thought counts, and every motion of your heart counts. Every feeling counts. Everything is energy and goes out and has an effect, you know, like the waves, they make the shore different. They change the shore. So these waves of energy that we put out, they change the field. So when you cook, back to the food, you can say, I, I wish for all beings everywhere to have such beautiful, nutritious food and such abundance. So you can make that a prayer as you prepare the food and put all your love in it and say, may all beings who get to, partake of this food be happy and know the causes of happiness, the true causes of happiness. And that really is to practice, to cleanse our minds and hearts of all the debris that we no longer need, and then come online fully as the powerful beings that we are, and then we make all the difference in the world. Each one of us will make all the difference in this world. It will change this world. You come online with your true purpose. We've been given a lot of grace periods, kids, but it's time to get with it, all right? So cultivate good habits of mind and heart all day long, throughout your whole day. And if some feelings and thoughts come in that are really painful, you just invite them with love. We don't want to like push them away or make them wrong. That would not be compassionate. We're compassionate, but we recognize this is not me. This is not who I am. This has been bad programming. Oh, sweetheart, come, let me put you into my own powerful sacred heart. But you do not get to take over my nervous system, my thoughts, my feelings, and actions anymore. I am now the master. I am now the healthy, divine parents that maybe we never had, but I am now that parent to my inner children. Let's breathe with that one. So it's a balance of will, discipline, intention, practice, clarity, and loving kindness and compassion to all those hurt parts in us and in other beings. We easily even clobber each other with spiritual teachings, you know, like, oh, it's not real, it's all a dream. Well, when someone comes with tears and they're brokenhearted, you don't want to tell them, oh, it's not real, you just want to hold them, you give them a hug, maybe put them on your lap, whatever. So, just being present with what is, but not getting hooked into the old habits of body, mind, and spirit. And so another little jewel that I want to share with you from the cat book, the Claw of Attraction, is so a friend in there in the story gives her friend some advice. Her friend is depressed, and so she says, you know how we have amulets and talismans, objects of power, objects of benevolence. We can also do that mentally. So she said, use a mental amulet, use a mental talisman. And that could be, and the cat, chimes in the book. Well, I can use, I am so fortunate that I am the Dalai Lama's cat. So you could use any words of power, any sentence of power, anything at all that empowers your heart and your inner knowing and your spirit and the message where you come from. I am a divine being. I am a being of infinite capacity and potential, and I am here to practice showing up for that more and more. Whatever you want to do. My purpose is here to transform the bad programming of myself and everyone else into more love. And you don't have to be perfect. This is not a place of perfection. This is a place of learning, of evolving. I don't know, I'm just here for the first time fully, willingly. I used to want to get off this planet. And now I'm very happy to be here as long as I don't hook into its sorrow and suffering, because that lowers my vibration and my frequency, and that does not help the wars and it does not help the suffering of anybody. The only thing that helps, yes, I do what I can, we can contribute in whatever way with our energy, time, money, service. That helps on the outer, but the only thing that truly helps the most inside, from which all good actions come, is our frequency, to raise our frequency and our vibration to a level of where we can claim the fact that we make a difference. Even if we grew up feeling small and insignificant and hurt and powerless, it doesn't matter. Now we are called, we're here gathered together to share in this message, in this recognition that we are powerful beyond anything our little minds could ever imagine. So let's focus on that and let's practice it. Make yourself a little spiritual or a big spiritual amulet, and the more you say it, the more you focus on it, the more it will grow and be automatic. It will just come up automatically all the time. So we can cultivate new mental habits. We can cultivate new emotional habits, and they are habits. So I could talk for a long time, but let's save a little practice for the workshop. And I'm so delighted to be with you, and thank you for letting that message into your heart and mind. And I wish for the center and for Reverend Pam and Michael and everyone in this community the highest and most beautiful unfolding of their next step, wherever they are and whatever happens, to go in the direction of what I just spoke about. May they be blessed and empowered and guided to their next right place. Namaste.
Namaste.